A lot of time while having a conversation with someone, instead of listening to the person properly, we start planning our responses in our head. And while we are doing that, we miss out on some points or some details said by the person. And then later on, when it is our chance to reply, our reply is not as impactful as it could have been if we were listening. I know sometimes it can be really hard to be a good listener, especially during a professional setting, like your job interviews or business meetings or networking events. And do you know why is it so difficult to be a good listener? Why it is difficult to be an active listener? Because sometimes we are just too excited to be a part of the conversation. Or sometimes we are nervous or we are worried that our reply should be proper. So we start thinking for what to say next. We start collecting all our thoughts, all our ideas, instead of listening to the person properly. So I'm gonna share 7 tips that you can follow to become an active listener yourself. So let's start with our first tip. Avoid internal or external distractions. Now, when you are listening to someone, focus on what the person is saying to you. Don't let your own thoughts or your own ideas to distract you, or any other noise or sound which is coming from somewhere, or maybe if your phone is ringing, or any other sort of distraction to divert your concentration. Tip number 2. Listen to the content, context, and tone of their speech. So the first thing is the content. Now, when you are listening, focus on the specific words, the specific phrases that are being used by the person while he's speaking. And then after the content comes the context. Try to understand in what context is he using those words. Because a lot of time when a word is used in a different context, the whole meaning changes drastically. And then lastly comes the tone, which is really important. Try to analyze the tone. Is the person happy when he's speaking? Is he angry? Is he sad? Or is he being sarcastic while he's speaking? So you have to pay attention on all the 3 things, the content, the context, and the tone if you want to clearly understand what the person is trying to say to you. Tip number 3. Pay attention to their body language and maintain an appropriate eye contact. We just don't communicate through words, we also communicate through our body language. So it is very important that you understand body language and you're able to soak in as much information as possible about the person. And while you are doing that, maintain an appropriate eye contact and a positive body posture yourself. And if you want to know more about positive body posture or what body posture one should maintain during the interviews, just watch this video. And now it's time for our 4th tip. Providing small verbal encouragements. Now, saying small things like yes or right or that makes sense while having a conversation, it gives the other person an encouragement that you are understanding whatever he's trying to say to you. It gives them an indication that you are listening to them and you are actively participating in the conversation, which makes the other person speak even more. Tip number 5. Ask open-ended questions if you want to encourage elaboration. See, if you want to know more about a person, then you should always ask them an open-ended question like how or why or tell me more. Because these questions, they allow them to elaborate in detail, which will help you to understand the bigger picture. It will help you to understand what the person is trying to communicate in a better way. Tip number 6. Ask closed-ended question if you want more clarity and that too in less time. Now, the answer to a closed-ended question is always in yes or no. And such questions, they allow you to gather important details which are more specific and that too in less time. So if you want a quick summary of the whole conversation or when you are concluding things, you can always ask a closed-ended question for a better understanding. Tip number 7. Offer affirmations that the person has made a valuable and an important choice. Affirmations are like compliments and everyone likes them, right? So instead of saying, I am proud of you, or you are doing great, or you are doing good, like a compliment, you can say you should be proud of your hard work, like an affirmation. So that the person feels that he has made a valuable and an important choice. So that he feels his self-worth, his self-importance. So those were the 7 tips that I found while I was doing my research. And before I conclude the video, I would just like to say that there is no harm in preparing yourself in advance. I mean, it is basic human nature to do that. But do you know what you're doing? You are preparing yourself way earlier. Like, you are preparing your responses way early in your head while the other person is still speaking. And when you're doing that, you are missing out on the details of what is important or what should be said exactly. So make sure that you follow all the 7 tips to become an active listener, to become a good listener, because I am sure that this will help you to become a better communicator and foster better connections both in your personal and professional life. So let me know if you like the video, and if you have any questions, let's talk in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Bye and take care.
EngVarta, your English practice playground. No judgment, only motivation and constructive feedback. Join today.